Hey, my name is Callie and thanks for tuning into this video about Refutation. This is part of the Novice Go Fight Win series, a series of videos dedicated to teaching novices the basics of policy debate. So who am I? Again, my name is Callie, and I'm a former debater for the University of Michigan. I debated for Traverse City Central High School in high school, and I currently coach at Gulliver Prep. I'm a 2N1A, and fun fact about me is David Height is my spirit animal. So, how do you make the most out of these videos? Well, you should definitely take notes and rewatch bits that you need re-explained. Hopefully we'll have worksheets or supplemental materials that will go along with the video, so check out the video description to see if it's there. Next, I'm going to be hitting you with a lot of information. You don't need to memorize it all, but you should at least be familiar with everything in the video. It's a building process. Also, these activities are really going to help you, so make sure you do them. Your coach also may like things differently, or you may like to debate in a slightly different style. That's totally okay. This is just one starting point. It's not an end point. So, refutation and debate. Let's talk about it. Well, debaters make both their own points and are responsible to responding to arguments made by the other team. This is what makes debate different than other speaking contests, and by different, I mean way cooler. And the difference is refutation. We have it. So what even is this thing called refutation? Well, it's the art of responding to arguments. So in debate, you have two responsibilities. The first is make your arguments, obviously, but the second is to respond to all, there's a reason why that's in caps, all of your opponent's arguments. And it can be a little tricky, but you'll learn that we actually have a process that we go through to make and compare arguments, and I'm going to teach it to you in this video. So here's the secret to winning every debate. Okay, ready? Respond to all of your opponent's arguments while still proving that your argument is better. What does this mean? Well, let's give a quick example. So you'll know that in this video, I have a couple of examples where I use me and Mike. Who's Mike? Mike was my high school debate partner, and you can see us right here at a debate tournament in Vegas. Yeah, debate's that cool. So my argument is we should go to McDonald's because I'm hungry. Mike says we should go hiking instead. Going to McDonald's is a bad idea because, one, McDonald's is unhealthy, and two, the seats are gross. My response is we should still go to McDonald's. You say it's unhealthy, but you can buy healthy choices there, and you say that it's dirty, but you can clean your seat. We shouldn't go hiking because I'm hungry, and if I don't eat, I'll die. So who do you think won this argument? If you said Callie, you'd be right. Just ignore me being melodramatic at the end. So why was my argument more persuasive? Well, first, I presented an action to take. Then, I gave a reason why that action is a good idea. Then I responded to all my opponent's arguments in an organized manner, and I gave a reason why not taking that action was bad. So here's a real-world, well, not real-world, but almost real-world example of persuasion, refutation. So remember in the Princess Diaries, I know I'm really aging myself, where Mia Thermopolis, this awkward high schooler, has to give a speech to her, I don't remember the class, some kind of speech class, and she's just doing a terrible job. She's all over the place, she's not making eye contact, she's so nervous, she actually runs out of the debate and throws up. And then, skip to the end of the movie, sorry for the spoiler, she gives this other speech as Princess Mia, and she does a great job. She refutes all potential arguments, she speaks really clearly, and I think it's pretty clear which speech was better. But why was it better? Because they practiced smart refutation. So, let's try it. On a piece of paper, I want you to write down the argument below, and I want you to refute each of the points individually. If you have unrelated reasons, so the argument is dogs are better than cats, but if you have unrelated reasons why cats are better than dogs, you should save those reasons until after you've responded to each argument. So pause this video, try this, and I'm going to come back and give you my answers in a second. Okay, let's see what I said. So, I say dogs are not better than cats because you say that you can play with dogs, but you can play with cats too. This is not a reason why dogs are better. You say that dogs are man's best friend, but cats are women's best friend, and women are better. And you say dogs are cuter, but cats are cuter than dogs, because they purr, whereas dogs only bark. Just kidding. I totally believe that dogs are better than cats. Here's my lovely dog right there. But sometimes, hey, in debate, you gotta argue against what you truly believe. So let's do this with a couple more. This one's a little bit more challenging. So this one's about immigration reform. So take a minute, pause the video, and refute each of the following arguments on using the format, the organized format that we just talked about. Here's an even harder one. We should curtail domestic surveillance. Does that sound like the AF? Yeah, it kind of does. And It's hard, but by the end of these videos, you'll know a ton of ways to respond to these arguments. Alright, let's talk about persuasion, and I'm not talking about the Jane Austen novel. So here are two arguments, Mike versus me, and I want you to tell me which is more persuasive. So Mike says, we should order pizza because 1, it's really delicious, 2, it can be delivered quickly, and I'm always hungry, and 3, I love Italian food. My argument is as follows. I love Italian food, and I love delicious food, and, yeah, maybe we should order pizza because I'm, super hungry. Who is more persuasive? Mike. Why? Because it's more organized. So, when you go into your messy, messy room and you're trying to find your socks, and you're like, where did I put my socks? I could have sworn I put them in the dresser. Same thing with organization in a debate round. Where did I answer that argument? I could have sworn I said it on the case, but if it's not organized, how will you know where it is? It needs to be organized. So why does it matter? Well, it makes your argument more coherent, so it's more persuasive. Next, bottom line's the judge, it makes your argument easier to understand for the judge. Third, it makes your argument easier to write down so the judge actually remembers what you said. And last but not least, it makes it easier to notice, for you to notice, if one part of your argument is not responded to, so you can exploit what your opponent forgot. So how do we do this? Well, we use a special method of refutation called line-by-line debating. And you should refute every argument this way. Also, line by line is not the same as line dancing. This is how you do it. Step 1, you say, they say, and then you say their argument briefly. Then you say, but I disagree, and then you say your argument. Third, you say because, and then you try to show your argument is better. That it's better reason, it has better evidence, it has historical or empirical support, and it has greater significance. And then step 4 is therefore, and then you argue why your argument matters more. Not only is it better, but why does that betterment matter? And you have to do this, not gonna lie, for every individual argument. So I'm not talking about saying cats are better than dogs and doing this. I'm saying you have to refute each of the subpoints. Dogs are man's best friend, you can play with dogs, etc. And refute this using line-by-line refutation of each subpoint. Whoa. So, let's practice. I want you to refute the following arguments using the line-by-line format. So, pause the video, take a look, and go. Okay, gonna pretend like you finished that activity, and let's talk about some swag. So, how do you have swag while refuting? Well, the first thing you can do is the they say method. That's what I just taught you. That, in my opinion, is the best way to do this. The second is the off the neg second argument. And the third is embedded clash. So embedded clash, I'm going to explain how to do it a little bit, but it's the best. So it saves you time and it sounds a lot better. And if you learn it now, your life will be a lot easier. The other methods are good, but as you get better, as you move out of being a novice, you need to move into the world of embedded clash. So the first way to do refutation is the they say method. That's what I just taught you. And I like to call this the lawyer because it's very Emmett Forrest from Legally Blonde. And this is where you say, but I disagree because, and then therefore. The second way is the off the X argument. I call this the engineer because it reminds me of Lucius Fox from Batman. So instead of saying they say and stating their argument, just say off the X neg or af arg. So that saves a lot more time. And because you should be taking notes in an organized fashion, both you and the judge should know what the second neg arg was or the third neg arg. For example, if you're answering the second neg arg on the disadvantage, you'd say off on the disadvantage, off the second neg arg, and then give your answer. You still have to remember that you have to win the argument and explain why you're winning. The third thing, and this is the best, remember, is embedded clash. And I call this a poet because it's the hardest technique to master, but it's the best. And how do you do this? Well, instead of explicitly saying what the argument that you're answering, you just assert the opposite of what they said in the correct order. So instead of responding to the argument that dogs are man's best friend by saying, they say dogs man's best friend, but I say that, no, you just say, dogs are not man's best friend because women are better and cats are women's best friend. you'd organize it that way. So what you should do is get good at one of the two other strategies, the novice, because it'll really structure how you think and respond to arguments. But then you can graduate by doing a bit of clash as you get into the JV and varsity levels. So let's review the process one more time. This is so important that I just want to reemphasize that debate is not just about making arguments. It's about defending that argument. And this is the process of debate. So this is what separates debaters from arguers. Yeah, we all know those people who just don't listen to reason. They don't respond to your arguments. They just keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. Those are arguers. You don't want to be that person. You might be good at arguing, but until you learn how to use argumentation in a debate round to become a debater, you won't be as effective. Debaters always beat arguers. So what's the magic formula? Organization plus line by line plus the refutation process results in wins. So let's come back to this question. How do you win a debate? Well, the bottom line is you win a debate if, at the end of the debate, you prove the world would be a better place if the judge does what you say. So that sounds kind of weird. So let me give you an example. So let's say that we have an AF, and the AF team says, we need to curtail domestic surveillance because currently we can't keep our data safe, which makes us vulnerable to cyber attacks. And cyber attacks would result in a targeting of U.S. nuclear facilities, launching a nuclear bomb through an accidental launch. The NEG isn't fazed by this argument, and they're like, well, if we decrease domestic surveillance, then it'll hurt the European tech industry, which hurts their economy. And if the European economy collapses, then so will the global economy. So who wins? Well, the AF wins if they can prove that an accidental nuclear launch from a cyber attack is worse than global economic collapse. And the NEG wins if they can prove that global economic collapse is worse than an accidental nuclear launch. So the bottom line is to win a debate, you have to make your world the one where less people die. So do these impacts sound silly? I mean, cyber attacks and US and European economic collapse? Really? Well, even though they do seem a little hyperbolic, impact scenarios make debate really fun, I promise. Because, come on, look, you can make things go boom. The last thing I want to talk about that's a little bit unrelated is speaker points and ranks. So, at the end of the debate, the judge not only picks who wins a debate, but they also assign each debater a speaker ranking based on speaker points. So, speaker 1 is the best debater in the round, and speaker 4 is the worst. So, points range from 0, which means you are terrible, to 30, which means you're perfect. Of course, you're already perfect, but that's okay. But most judges, in a realistic sense, give points between 26, which is like the worst debater they've ever seen ever, and 30, which means you're perfect. And judges rarely award 30s. So a chart for what most speaker points mean, you get a 26, the judge is trying to tell you that you need to practice or prepare a little bit more. A 27 means like, meh, you're okay. 28 means you're like pretty good, you're in the upper level of debaters. And a 29 means that they're trying to tell you you're one of the best speakers I've seen this year. And you also get decimal points. So you could be like a 27.7 or like a 26.2. So, video's done. What should you have learned? You need to know what refutation is. You need to know why it's important. You should be able to take away some strategies for effective refutation. And you should also know what speaker points and ranks are. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you in the future, and go fight, win.